Erik Horne here with Martenzie Johnson and David Dennis Jr., and we are talking about Scottie Scheffler. Yeah, that's right. You probably didn't expect us to talk about golf on a Friday morning, but I woke up this morning, I looked at my phone, and Scottie Scheffler, number one golfer in the world, had been arrested at Valhalla Golf Club ahead of his second round of the PGA Championship. Apparently, he violated some traffic rules. There was a death at the golf course, earlier in the morning where traffic had stopped. Someone was hit by a bus, and Scheffler jumped the median and tried to get around the traffic stop and was charged with second degree assault of a police officer, third degree criminal mischief, reckless driving, and a disregard of traffic signals. There's some more details in this story, but David hit me up this morning, and I was like, so why do we want to talk about this? Because he didn't get shot. And I tried not to be too jokey about this because someone passed away. I mean, someone died this morning, and I'm glad that Scott Scheffler didn't get shot because we didn't need more death. We don't ever need senseless death at the hands of police. But my initial reaction when I see this story and I read it is, oh, okay, this guy broke a bunch of rules and he was handled a little bit differently by the police than we are used to seeing our black brothers and sisters handled. I want to get you guys feel on how this went down, and as we look down at the clock and it's 11:04, this happened to Scott Scheffler this morning, and he's already out on the golf course.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this was a fascinating story. It's going to continue to be a fascinating story because what we have is two institutions of white privilege and supremacy who are like butting heads, and for the first time, really, we have police and we have the PGA, right? Which they sort of need at Valhalla, at this place where they kind of need each other to function, right? Where they like have this symbiotic relationship, which you would not see them, coming, having conflict with one another, but they have it now because you have a situation where it appears as though the police overreacted to something that was going on, despite what they say, because now we have a situation also where we have to now, are we going to believe the police reports? Are we suddenly going to be skeptical of police reports? Because what the police officer said was that, he violated laws and they handled him because he endangered the life of a police officer. And we have, on the other hand, somebody who is in a privileged position. He was going, a lot of these golfers are going around traffic. He was told he could do that. And you have police versus PGA, and the responses have been absolutely fascinating this morning.
I gotta push back a little, David, on what you said. Like, as if this would like the officer was seriously injured here. He suffered pain, swelling, and abrasions to his left wrist. His uniform pants, which for whatever reason they told us is valued at $80,
$80,
were damaged beyond repair. Like, these weren't quite Amiri jeans, but like these are some expensive pants that Scottie Scheffler apparently damaged. Yeah, I agree with everything David and you, Erik, have said. This is just one of those cases of privilege kind of butting heads here. It's the same thing, but it's in conflict for really one of the first times ever. Like we said, normally in these cases where a traffic stop goes wrong, someone ends up shot. So at least Scottie Scheffler got off in this case and just being arrested and just being charged with felonies. But it is just interesting. I've seen just from the reaction to it, just from random Twitter users, and they don't really represent everybody, but regardless, Twitter users and our brothers in the media, right? So for as far as the Twitter users, it's like, oh, the cop was overzealous and how dare he? And then there was accusations of like, oh, he must have bet on someone not Scheffler. So that's the betting stuff is getting into this as well. But then in the media, Jeff Darlington, who is the person on scene for this, who kind of broke the news on it, he even says like, oh, this is a misunderstanding and Scottie didn't know what was going on. It's like, without actually like interviewing him, we don't know what Scottie really thought other than the statement he just put out. But like, it's a lot of assumptions about, well, he didn't know what he was doing was wrong, which he may or may not have known, but it's given the benefit of the doubt, which rarely in these cases do, I don't want to say someone who looks like Tiger Woods, but if someone who looks like Tiger Woods had this situation, I don't think the same thing happened. So that's been the most fascinating thing to me. And really just the reaction to the people at the golf course, where it's like giving them a standing ovation as if like he was a political prisoner or something and he just got out, like Nelson Mandela just got freed. And now we're giving him a round of applause. I thought that was interesting, but yeah, overall, it's typical privilege conflicting, which we rarely see.
Well, this is the thing. This is going to be interesting here. Is like white folks are about to decide who was wrong. Somebody was wrong. Somebody got arrested and got put in jail and charged. Somebody was wrong, and now white folks going to decide: is it the number one golfer in the world was wrong, or is it the police who are wrong? And like this is a conundrum for the ages for these folks to have to figure out who was the wrong person. It seems like the court of public opinion with the standing ovation is cheering for the golfer. But that means that now you have to interrogate what's actually happening with the police. And you're telling me that the cop did something wrong. Well, then you are now entering it into your conscious, into your thought that there was a possibility that the police can do things that are wrong in traffic violation situations. So if you are now going to believe that because of this thing that happened to one guy, what are you actually going to believe about the police? Because are you going to stop right there and say that every other time this happens, they're correct? Or are you going to say that there's actually something fundamentally wrong with the police? This is the fascinating conundrum that these folks find themselves in.
See, David, you want to believe that this puts them in conflict, but I already know what their ace in the hole here is here, and they've used this countless times when we brought this up ourselves. This is a bad apple, David. This is a one-off. This isn't an indictment of the entire police department or any of their tactics or anything. This is just one bad cop, and if you see it, it's very singular in how people are tweeting about this. This officer, that officer. It's not the Louisville Police Department has an issue, because if they admitted that, and I'm not saying these are all the same people, right? And I don't want to generalize and put them all in the same. But then you'd have to say, oh, the Louisville Police Department has an issue when it comes to policing. Therefore, that thing that happened 4 years ago, maybe they were in the wrong. So you're not gonna trip them up on this. They're just gonna blame it on the
what happens when they do or do not suspend this cop?
If they do suspend the cop, you will get a round of applause from PGA golf fans, I think. But the police union and the people who drive around with the thin blue line on the back of their car, I think they're going to be pissed that you are just pointing out that a cop was wrong. Now, if nothing happens, then I'm almost certain, I think regardless, Scheffler is going to sue them. He's already got the attorney who represented Breonna Taylor's boyfriend. So it's obvious he is gearing up to make this into a fight. And I think it's partly going to be not necessarily that he violated whatever traffic law he might have violated. It's that he got roughed up, how Darlington explained it, in the process of this. And these charges are a bit ridiculous. Like, there was no felony assault of an officer here. Like, now, if he dragged him like 100 feet on the bottom of his car, maybe, but nothing here, at least from what we've seen, kind of indicates that. But yeah, I think you're going to have people pissed off regardless. But I think if something does happen to this officer, you're going to have a lot more people mad, just particularly in Louisville. Because, like, again, the police always get the benefit of the doubt, no matter who is the victim in any case.
It's going to be interesting for me to see how the public perception is of what Scheffler did, too, because, you know, according to what Jeff Darlington reported, you know, the police officer told Scheffler to stop, but Scheffler continued to drive 10 to 20 yards toward the entrance. And then he had 20 to 30 seconds before he rolled down the window to talk to the officer. Now, those might seem like short periods of time and short distances, but when we're talking about what we've seen over the past decade plus when it comes to policing and people in our communities, that short period of time, it's a longer time on a camera. And I'm interested to see what the body cam footage of this stuff looks like. I'm interested to see how people portray the notion of, well, if somebody told Scheffler to stop, he should have stopped, which has been used against Black people multiple times when it comes to running away from police. So the language of this, the way it's been reported, considering it's coming from our entity, is a fascinating thing too, that Jeff Darlington is immediately involved in it. and was a firsthand witness to what happened. And it's reported in the story what he said. This isn't a police report. This is Jeff Darlington's report that is on the internet. That is the primary source of this story. It's going to be completely fascinating how this is all absorbed and digested over the next 24 hours. In particular, because Scott Scheffler is not going to be out of this thing. He's going to be one of the top competitors for the PGA Championship all weekend. So this is going to be a story going into Monday and Tuesday as well, probably.
Yeah,
I mean, we don't need a body. Yeah, we don't need a body cam, right? Because I've been told as a journalist that whenever the police tell you something, you take it as the letter of the law. When the police puts a report, that's exactly what happened. I've been told I don't need body cam footage for this. I've been told that what the police say in the report is unimpeachable, case closed.
Yeah, I feel like we talk about what the reaction is going to be to this, just again, based off the tweets I've seen and the position that a lot of people seem to have taken on this and not trusting the police. I feel like streams of a certain NWA song are going to skyrocket over the next 24 hours because these people are pissed at, but again, it's just this one individual cop. And like, that's why I think we're talking about this now. We'll talk about it Saturday, talk about Sunday going into Monday. It's going to go away eventually, right? And I think it's just because not we, but the people most up in arms about this, they don't want to indict the entire institution of policing. They want to point out that this one cop did this one bad thing. And then once that's settled, it's kind of like going back to normal, right? So after on Tuesday, some cop is going to do something somewhere in Montana or something. It's going to go right back to the cops are never wrong. So I will say, I don't know Scottie Scheffler all that well. I don't know his politics. I mean, he's from Texas, so I can assume, but I'm rooting for him in this case, right? Like, do what you got to do, man. Sue them for as much as you want. Get as much deposition as you possibly need. Because this is the win for me, regardless. No matter what happens to him, because he's going to put pressure on not only a police department, but the Louisville Police Department in particular.
I just want to wear a Colin Kaepernick jersey tomorrow while he takes the tee.
Meanwhile, Tiger Woods is just over here, just minding his own business, man. Just look, let's let me get through this weekend without my hip flaring up, man. I'll be good, man. Like Tiger's like, man, look, I'm not trying to jump any medians. Like I'm just trying to keep this thing on the road and try to just play with my kids, man. I'm cool. Like I
hope they helicoptered that brother in this morning or something.
Tiger said, "Good luck."
Watching some of the one of the golfers is just like, oh, now I'll make sure a driver drives me in. I saw one who's actually playing. It's like, oh, I switched seats. It's just like, oh, so you're afraid of what the police might do to you when you're driving a car. Like that's. In 2024, that's an interesting observation.
I mean, it's a you got to say thoughts and prayers to people who have to consider what police will do to them when they're driving from one place to another and making that commute.
When they're driving into a golf course, when they're driving into a golf club,
Yeah. Sometimes you may get profiled as somebody who's not a PGA Tour star, or maybe who is a PGA Tour star. And for folks who are saying that this is something they've never seen before, I would encourage everybody to Google Thabo Sefolosha, whose leg was broken by the NYPD a few years back, or Sterling Brown, the Milwaukee Bucks, who was tased and teased for a potential civil rights complaint. Like, this is not an unprecedented thing. It's unprecedented for this to happen to a white superstar or a white superstar, or he's probably the biggest star where this thing like that happened to on the morning of this event. But at the same time, this is not just a situation that quote unquote regular black folks go through. Like actual professional athletes, millionaires have also had to deal with this, and to a worse extent, going through just their everyday walk of life.
All right, y'all, we're out. Keep it locked to Andscape for the latest in the Scottie Scheffler trial. Martenzie, David Dennis, thanks for joining us, and we'll see y'all next time.
Can I give one parting thing?
Yes.
Out on bail, fresh out of jail, California, dreaming. Scottie Scheffler, man of the people.
First day out. Play that Gucci Mane on you when you get to the course.
All right, see ya.
All right, man. Catch you later.